Hey there, everybody. If you're thinking about moving to Orlando, Florida, and you want to know the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to moving here, well, stick around because today we're going to be discussing the 7 things that you absolutely need to know about before moving to Orlando, Florida. And we're getting to it right now. My name is June Kranick, and on this channel we do videos every single week of what it's like to live, work, eat, sleep, all things related to Orlando. So if that's the information that you want to need, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button and click the bell below so that you're notified every time we do another video. We have people reaching out to us every single day, and myself and the team, we absolutely love it. So if you're thinking about moving to Orlando, Florida, or the Central Florida area in general, well then send us a text, give us a call, send us an email, however you wish to connect, because remember, we got you covered when it comes to moving to Orlando, Florida. So on the list, we're gonna start with number 7, and that is toll roads. I don't know if you knew this, but in Orlando and the Central Florida, heck, Florida in general, there's a ton of toll roads. There are some roads that don't require tolls, but of course, those are the busiest roads possible. Those are the roads like I-4, doesn't require a toll. Now, interestingly enough, Florida has no state income tax, which is a huge benefit, huge. However, we do pay state income tax kind of with the tolls. There's some roads such as the Turnpike and the 528, which require money, and of course, my beloved 417. 417 is expensive. It's between $1.25 to $2.50 every couple of miles or so, but in my humble opinion, it's well worth it because it really eliminates the time getting from A to B in Orlando, Florida. So that's why it comes in at number 7 is the toll roads. Number 6 is car insurance. Yes, in the state of Florida, you will pay 52% higher than the national average. Florida has 30% uninsured motorists, which means that the ones that do have insurance kind of pay for the rest. This is a no-fault state, so it doesn't really matter whose fault it is. And it is a high-risk state because, no disrespect to anybody, we do have many, many tourists. This year is projected to be close to 80 million tourists, and that's during a pandemic. Also, our high risk is the elderly, and I hate saying that as well because we're all going to get there one day. That is why we have such high car insurance. Now, it does make a difference, the zip code that you live in, and also it does make a difference with your credit score. And the other difference, which kind of drives me a little crazy, is if you're married or not. Somehow that makes you valid. So in the state of Florida, we do have very high car insurance. So that's just something for you to take a look at. Number 5 is the theme parks, hence the tourist. Again, a subject that is a very delicate one because honestly, we love that we have so many people visiting here from all different parts of the United States and all over the world. It does make it very, very crowded. It does make it very, very busy. Certain times of the year, it's kind of a gridlock over by Disney, theme parks and whatnot. So you do learn how to navigate and kind of control that narrative. Also, prices of things are much higher on that side of town. Restaurants, gas stations, you know, of course, they're gonna gouge if they can. So it's really something to think about is that because of the amount of tourists that we have and because of the theme parks, prices are very high, population is very high, cars on the road are massive. And so it's also another reason why it's something that you really need to think about before moving to Orlando, Florida. On the flip side of that, it also gives us such opportunity for businesses, for employment. I mean, if you're unemployed in Orlando, Florida, then you're super picky or you just don't want to work. There's jobs everywhere, but it just depends on what you want to do. Number 4 is cost of living. The cost of living in Orlando, Florida, and Central Florida in general, when I say Orlando, I mean Central Florida, keeps seeming to creep up, yet and still, salaries don't seem to keep creeping up, which is kind of weird. Housing is actually 11% lower than the national average. However, your utilities are 11% higher, so I don't know if that's really a wash. Now, the interesting thing is the housing market has really affected everyone in the United States. There's just not enough homes for the supply and demand, if you will. However, rentals in this area have been creeping up as well, which is kind of interesting. Apartment is about $1,500. Now we're talking about the average. To rent an apartment is about $1,500 a month. To rent a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home in Orlando is about $1,800. That's why so many people choose to just go ahead and purchase a home, because when you rent, you're spending about the same as a mortgage, depending of course on how much the home is. I mean, the cost of living in Orlando is creeping up. Again, all relative. If you live in California, the cost of living here looks like an awesome deal. And that's why it comes in at number 4. If you're getting any value out of this video, do me a favor. Hit the like button and also comment below and let us know what you want to see so we can get those videos out to you. Number 3 is wages. In Florida, the average, or I should say in Orlando, the average household combined income is about $52,000. It's $51,000 and change. In Orlando, the unemployment rate is 5.9%, and that is, of course, about 3 points higher since the pandemic. Normally, it's about 2.5, very low unemployment. Our poverty level in Orlando is about 19.9%. Wages on the average and hourly is about $15 an hour, so it doesn't really correlate with the cost of living. Now, with that being said, there's some opportunities in Orlando that are unlike other places in the country. Again, I always say Orlando is the land of opportunity. If you are an entrepreneur, you need to come to Orlando, Florida, because there's so much opportunity with tourism, with housing, with everything. To think that 75 to 100 million people will come and visit Orlando, Florida next year in 2022 just tells you that there's a lot of opportunity for growth. There's other industries that flourish as far as it goes with salaries and wages. So we're talking about the average. Now, unfortunately, places like Disney, sorry to say it, I know that many people love Disney. Putting that aside, sometimes they don't pay what you're worth, especially when you get into like mid-management and things like that. Don't shoot the messenger. I gotta tell you that in 2016, I moved up to Washington, D.C. to open up a site. And I was shocked because the front desk girls made $20 an hour. I was like, $20 an hour? I couldn't believe it for someone at the front desk. So, you know, you kind of get used to wages being a lot lower in Orlando, Florida. But like I said before, there is a lot of opportunity here that you don't get in other places, but it is also the reason why it comes in at number 3. Number 2 is the traffic. We got a little spoiled during the pandemic, you know, started traveling, it's not really too busy, getting from A to B pretty quickly. Well, pandemic has kind of come to a close and it is busy out there. There are parts of Orlando that, as someone who's lived here for 35 years, you know when to go and where to go and how not to go. Just like any place that you live. Now, if you're from New York City, if you're from Los Angeles, if you're from Washington, D.C., this is nothing. I've never seen traffic like D.C. traffic. I didn't even know that existed. I've never seen traffic like Los Angeles, California, where there was gridlock at midnight when we went on vacation. So again, it is all relative. Now, if you come from a rural area in Georgia, this traffic is gonna drive you crazy. It is a lot. It's a lot in the mornings with school buses. Like, again, you learn how to skirt around. I also purchased my home based upon roads that I can get in and out of. So these are all things to consider before moving. You wanna consider your commute and what it's gonna, what that's gonna look like, what that's gonna cost you as far as tolls go. All of that can factor into the things that you need to know before moving to Orlando, Florida. And coming in at number one things you need to know is the weather. Yes, it sounds beautiful and tropical and sunny. There's a lot more to it than that. Now, I grew up in Florida. Heat didn't bother me up until maybe about 10 years ago. Now, I do whatever I can to avoid being outside in the summertime. It's hard to really grasp how hot it is in July and August in Central Florida. Not a lot of breeze, humidity off the charts, and it is really, really, really hot. Africa hot. Now, in the summertime, there are showers almost every single day, meaning rain showers. And it'll pour, and then 15 minutes later, the sun's back up. Now, this is a couple things. It brings the temperature down, but you literally can see the mist coming off of the cement. So, ladies, if you have curly hair, lucky you. If not, get a keratin treatment or just simply give up, because your hair will go crazy in Orlando, Florida. Wintertime, is it called winter? I don't really know. Sometimes it's super warm in November and December. This past year, we had a delightful winter, in my opinion. It was cool, it was 70s, sometimes 60s, even 50s. To me, that's heaven on earth. Now remember that when it gets cold here, when it gets under 50 degrees, we still have that pocket of moisture. So it's like a damp cold. So though we sound like big sissies, and we are when it comes to cold weather, it's a wet cold. So it does kind of chill you to the bone. I don't think people really get that, it's really, 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 really hot here, and it's hot all the time. So if you hate hot weather, don't move here. If you love hot weather, then come on down, because this place you will absolutely love. But all in all, the other thing that I want to talk about is hurricanes. Hurricanes to me, not a big deal. Yes, they're a big deal when they hit, and a lot of times they scare the dickens out of you, and it never hits us. So it's kind of like, I think that Home Depot and the weatherman are in cahoots or something. But we get so used to tropical thunders and things like that. If it's not a level 4 or 5, meaning a category 4 or 5 hurricane, we're not going anywhere. At least I'm not. I can say that I'm a little arrogant when it comes to hurricanes, because it's just part of what you get used to, just like blizzards are what you get used to up in Wisconsin, if you will. If there's blizzards there, I think there is. Weather is really something to consider. I always recommend to come down in August in Florida, and if you can handle it then, you can handle it anytime. All of these things that are things that you really want to consider when moving to Orlando, Florida. We would like to give you the good, the bad, the ugly, because we want you to kind of know all of it. There's so many great things about Florida: beaches, sunny weather, cost of living, no income state tax, things like that. So there's a lot of benefits, but there's also some drawbacks that you have to consider. So today we were talking about 7 things that you absolutely need to know before moving to Orlando or Central Florida. But if that is not what you're looking for, it's not the information that you need, well, you gotta let us know. You've gotta reach out. Send us a text, give us a call, send us an email, however you wish to connect, because remember, we've got your back when it comes to moving to Orlando and to Central Florida.